I met my wife of 5 years through mutual friends while we were out clubbing. We had a great time talking and dancing, and she even introduced me to her ex-boyfriend, who was with another group of friends at the club. I chatted with him as well and got a good first impression. A few days later, another mutual friend told me she had asked for my number and if it was okay to give it to her. I don't give my number out easily, only to a few hand-picked friends, so I asked my friend for some insight to get a better understanding of her. My friend explained that she had broken up with her long-term boyfriend after their first child was born, 6 months prior. Life had gotten tough as they tried to get a home and handle more responsibilities, and the young father bailed, preferring to party instead. He told her he wasn't ready for the responsibilities but would help financially with the child, so they broke up but remained on good terms for the sake of their child. I took some time to think about it, as I wasn't interested in a romantic relationship, but after a week, I gave my friend the go-ahead to give her my contact. I was only interested in a platonic friendship with her. Even though she was quite my type and fun to be around, I wasn't actively looking for a girlfriend. I made it clear that I wasn't interested in a relationship, but I was fine with being someone she could talk to, vent to, or go out with. This was how I treated all my friends, male or female. After months of daily texting, calling, and going out with her and her child, she asked my best friend for tips on how to approach me because she had fallen for me. Despite not giving her any signals and even trying to set her up with someone I knew, I eventually gave in when she asked me out after 2 years of being in the friend zone. She was almost always by my side. I liked her child, I'm child-friendly, met her parents, her friends, and even had a good relationship with her ex-boyfriend. After a year of dating, I proposed, and a year later we got married. In the 7 years we were together, we attended family gatherings from her ex-boyfriend's family and hers, sometimes even with her ex. We even went on double dates with her ex and his girlfriend. A big red flag, right? But I'm not the jealous type. If someone wrongs me, I just leave and go no contact. My wife asked me several times if it was okay for me to be so close to her ex because of the child. I always reassured her that I understood their long bond and that he was the child's father. As long as she didn't cross boundaries, there wouldn't be any consequences. However, in June, I discovered she was emotionally cheating with her ex, and he was the aggressor. He opened up to her about being depressed when he heard his son calling me Papa, and how his whole view of life changed. He acknowledged that I was good to his child and thanked me many times. But now he wanted his family back. It started subtly after the new year with innocent texts, asking about their song, reminiscing about old memories, and so on. There were no late-night calls, no secretive dates, no hushed phone calls, and no erased texts. Everything seemed normal on the surface. But beneath it all, the emotional affair was brewing, and it was only a matter of time before it came to light. It all started in June, and the signs were glaringly obvious. She began leaving the room to talk, pretending to do something elsewhere, and dressing nicely whenever she met him to hand over their child for the weekend. After a week of observing, I was curious about when it had all started and what stage they were at, emotionally or physically. Being a bit tech-savvy and part of my job involving pattern recognition, it wasn't difficult for me to dig deeper. Normally, at the first sign of trouble, I would leave, as I always have, but now I was married, and I didn't want to be seen as running off like her ex. So I collected texts, emails, and parts of conversations. In the meantime, I contacted my lawyer and got my finances in order. For me, my marriage ended in June with the emotional cheating, but I knew I needed more proof for the hardcore denialists among family and friends who tend to dismiss emotional cheating as harmless. So I waited until it became physical a month later. When she came home, I saw the confusion, guilt, and every emotion in her body. This get-together happened 2 more times, and each time she told him it was a mistake, blah blah blah. I had already withdrawn emotionally and physically from her after the first time, so on a Friday I hired movers to pack their things. Clothes, furniture, toys, everything, onto a truck that was on standby outside my house. When she came home after work and dropping the child off at her ex's, I handed her the divorce papers with all the evidence right at the door. I thanked her for the 5 faithful years and for the time I got to know her family. I told her that a truck was waiting to deliver her and her child's belongings. From now on, all communication should be through our lawyers, as advised. She stood at the door for about 30 minutes, probably in shock. So I texted the truck driver to ask her for the delivery address to snap her out of her stupor. We live in a no-fault state, so there's no alimony, no child support. I hadn't adopted the child. The house is mine. Our finances are separate, and there are no joint accounts. To this day, there's drama from her family, and her friends, but to her credit, she confessed everything. She even tried to talk to me, but I wasn't interested. My family and friends stay polite to her, but won't assist her in any way. I love them for that. I don't really care if she and her ex got back together or how sorry she is, etc. What concerns me now, after reading a few stories on Reddit, is myself. I loved her kid, and her whole family. I supported her in every way, emotionally, financially, and with her child. I laid the perfect groundwork for a family, with thoughts of a future with my own kids with her, a house and financial independence. But now I feel no heartache, only regret for the lost time and effort. I didn't even feel anger or anything. In my former relationships, I would feel sad for a week, but now, nothing. Should I go to a therapist? I'm not sure I want to wake a sleeping bear.